I greet you in the precious name of our Emmanuel Jesus. The Church of South India commemorates its 75th anniversary, making a significant milestone in its history. To truly grasp the essence of this video's theme, one must dwell into the historical context that laid the foundation of the formation of CSI. In 1931, when the census data revealed a notable increase in the number of Indian Christians, particularly among the marginalized communities, it startled leaders like C. Rajagopalachari and Mahatma Gandhi. Bishop V S Azariah's evangelical effort in Dornakal, though beneficially to socially marginalized groups, drew criticism from Gandhiji, who viewed religious conversions as contrary to the dharmic order. To address this misunderstanding between Bishop V S Azariah and Gandhiji, a meeting was organized in mid-February in 1937, possibly on 12th by Gerald W Pickett, an American Methodist missionary. This gathering took place at the residence of Reverend J.H. Hodge, the Secretary of the National Christian Council in Nagpur, but concluded without a consensus. Indian Christians' reluctance to join the Indian National Congress was also considered unpatriotic. In 1942, Bishop V S Azariah expressed concern about potential persecution of Christians in independent India. Kanagarayan Thiruselvam Paul, S.K. Datta, Vengal Sakarai Chettiar, and V S Azariah formed an alliance to instill a sense of responsible nationalism within the Christian community, despite opposition from some Western missionaries and Indian Christians. Prior to the establishment of CSI, there were two types of Protestant churches in India. Anglican churches, formed by the Society for the Propagation of Gospel and the Church Mission Society, maintained hierarchical structure similar to that of the Roman Catholic Church. The other churches, such as Congregational, Presbyterian, Methodist, and Reformed traditions established by missionary organizations like the London Missionary Society and the Wesleyan Methodist Missions, followed a more decentralized approach with greater power vested with the laity. Reverend Professor Vedam Santiago had already formed the South India United Church, a union of churches from the Congregational, Presbyterian, and Reformed traditions. Bishop V S Azariah initiated another union between the South India United Church and the Anglican Church in South India and in Jaffna, with the aim of officially severing the Indian church's overseas affiliations. K.T. Paul, S.K. Datta, V. Sakarai, and V. S. Azariah believed in independent India, Indian churches should reflect Indian ethos and culture, promoting inculturization. The Church of South India's logo, designed by Professor V. Vasantan of the American College, Madurai, features a cross superimposed on a stylized lotus flower against a white backdrop. The lotus, symbolizing purity and spiritual significance in India, signifies the indigenous nature of Church of South India and its reliance on the God's grace, like the lotus flower towards the sun. The stylized petals also depicts the fiery split tongues of the Holy Spirit. To foster unity, a common order of service was introduced featuring the singing of kirtanai, that is lyrics, instead of the hymns, with Carnatic music genre accompanied by violin and tabla instead of piano and organ. In 1980, my second elder sister's marriage was solemnized following the CSI order of worship. In the CSI order of worship, during the marriage, the bride and the bridegroom would exchange garland, and while the bridegroom tying the thali, melam, the traditional drum, will be played. The order of marriage service had a provision for the Indian marriage tradition of 7 steps without the fire ritual. Despite these efforts, the awareness of such an order of service remains limited. For your knowledge, I am posting the cover page of the Tamil Order of Service of CSI. As we celebrate today the diamond, that is 75th anniversary jubilee of CSI, it is essential to assess how closely CSI have adhered to its founding principles. Number 1, disassociation with overseas Christian organizations. CSI maintains ties with the Anglican Communion, World Methodist Council, and the World Communion of Reformed Churches. Some dioceses like Madras, Tirunelveli, and others even have a sponsoring Anglican dioceses in Britain. All these proves that CSI has failed to disassociate with its overseas connections. Second, it was inculturization. Despite early aspirations, the CSI order of service was given way to Anglican Book of Common Prayers. Traditional wedding attire has been replaced by Western gowns in recent times. Christianity in India traces back to the apostles St. Thomas and St. Bartholomew in the 1st century AD. However, CSI has failed to dispel the perception of Christianity as a Western religion, instead becoming more aligned with Anglicanism. While Anglican church properties mostly belong to the British Crown, the Indian Church Act of 1927 facilitated their transfer to the Indian Church Trustees. However, the transfer of properties from other traditions remained incomplete, leading to unauthorized sales by the bishops and others who hold power in the diocese and in the CSI Senate. Congregational, Methodist, and Presbyterian and Reformed tradition churches had more decentralized decision-making system of governance. For example, the presbyter's salary will be paid by the local church, not as a uniform salary. If the presbyter is not catering to the needs of the congregation, they may even terminate him. So, the laity had the control over the presbyters, and the presbyter had the compelling need to serve the congregation. But CSI has shifted to a more centralized structure like the Anglican churches. This shift has given way for church politics and administrative issues. The formation of CSI is not an amalgamation, it is just a union of churches. Hence, anytime a church decides not to continue with CSI, they could walk away with their church properties. This is what has happened with Chennai Egmore St. Andrew's Church. This kirk, with Scottish leaning, became independent from CSI. Tirunelveli Diocesan Trust Association too was also functioning independent of CSI for few years. Had they consecrated a bishop for TDTA churches, it would have run smoothly without again coming under the clutches of CSI. If we reflect upon the functioning of CSI all through the 75 years, CSI has failed to put in practice the founding principles. As we mark the 75th anniversary of CSI, it is opportune moment to reflect on the ease of exit from CSI, allowing churches like TDTA, LMS, and Wesleyan Methodist Missionary Trust Association churches to regain independence akin to their pre-1948 status. To start with, CSI should give back LMS churches to the Trangur Church Council, more particularly the Christu Koil at Palliyadi. Let this Jubilee milestone serve as a catalyst for introspection and reform within CSI to better align with its founding ideals and evolving needs of the Indian Christian community. Thank you for watching this video. May God bless you.